Carolyn Dube here, and today I'm playing in my altered book journal. Those are some gessoed pages from who knows when with a little spilt ink on them. Prima sent me these great fluid chalk edgers, and I have to say, the second I saw them, I thought they would work so perfectly with the stencil. I have no idea if this is how Prima intended for them to be used or not, but I know it's how I like them. And you actually saw me clean something off there. I will explain that in a minute, I promise. But the nice thing about these little edgers is, they're easy to hold and they're easy to control where they go. So I'm only using part of this stencil by Roxanne Evans Stout called Nature's Gatherings. Now, I wanted to create this whole bottom foliage thing down here, so I'm flipping the stencil back and forth. That way I make it look like it's pointing right, it's pointing left. I'm going to maneuver it around a little bit, giving it, a little different angle, a little different height. When I flip it over to get that other look, the ink that's on this side of the stencil, well, it's going to transfer and leave a mess, so what I'm doing is actually wiping off any of that loose ink. So yes, I actually did clean something off by choice, but never fear, there won't be much more cleaning in my life than this today. So I've got that darker color that I've stenciled on. It was called Old Road is the name of that chalk edger. Well, this next layer is just acrylic paint that I am scraping across there with a catalyst blade. And this allows me to have some color and still see what I've got underneath it. Well, between the color and the foliage up there, it made me think about when I was younger, and one of my most soulful times in my teen years was walking along the sand dunes with all the foliage that grows up. This isn't exactly the same foliage, but it gave me that feeling. So I decided I wanted to get the word soul on here. So what I did, and I had to do this before the paint dried all the way, so this was a go quickly kind of thing. I've got my stencil down there called Use Your Words, and that was just water. All I did was get it wet, and I'm pulling up the paint that was already there, leaving the shadow for me of the word soul. Then I'm going to come around and I'm going to clean up the edges and make the word pop out, stand out a little bit more. So I'm defining it. All that is a damp paper towel going in there and pulling up any of the excess paint, or not, it's not really excess paint, it's pulling up the color so that I get the contrast between the blue and that gessoed surface underneath. Word of warning, this really only works on something that's gessoed underneath because the paint's got to be able to come up. If it was right on paper, this is not going to work. Well, I added the word promises from another one of Roxanne's stencils, and it looked a little bit different than the other stuff because it was on top of the paint. So what I did is I just brought in a little bit more of the paint and smeared that on top of it to make it look like it was done at the same time as the other stuff. Well, and then I did this great splattering with this. I was going to show you exactly how to splatter with the Color Bloom spray inks because I've had so many people ask me about that. But the video camera wasn't on. But never fear, I'm going to do it again. Well, one of the cool things about the Color Bloom spray ink is that you can get that full coverage with a full spray, or you can get it to splatter and spit and get the dribbles and drops. So there it is, just giving the trigger a hard pull. But when I just tap on it, then I can get it to spit and spurt and splatter and splat. With this, I found that if I give it one good pull, like I do one full spray first, it kind of primes it, and then I'm able to splitter and splatter a little bit more. And a complete word of warning, this is addictive. I didn't intend to splitter and splat this much, but I just couldn't help myself because it's fun. And again, all I'm doing is I'm barely touching that trigger to get it to splot. If I give it much of a pull, I'm going to get the spray. So just a little tap, and you get lots and lots of addictive splitter, splatter, splots, and splotches. And now comes the part where I just bring out some details. By tracing around the leaves with a colored pencil, I'm just going to add some lines and definition to things. Well, thanks to technology, this is being sped up, but while I was doing this, this is one of those times where I get to just kind of get lost in the thought, and my hands are busy being creative, and it's almost as if there's a part of me talking to me that gets to be heard loud and clear instead of a faint whisper that gets sort of ignored in all the noise of everyday life. Well, thank you for spending part of your day with me here as I'm playing in my art journal. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and of course, if you have friends that you think would also enjoy it, I'd love it if you'd share it with them. Thanks for being a part of this colorful journey.